Hi, my name is Grant Dwyer. I'm an immigration lawyer located here in Miami, Florida, and I'm going to walk you through how to complete your online form, the DS-160, if you are an E2 investor or if you're completing the DS-160 forms for your family members. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have all of the important documents ready and at hand to work through this form. Here's a good list for us to use. Do you have your passport? Do you have information regarding your national ID number, if your country assigns such a number, and any other passports you might hold? You want to make sure to have all those at hand. Do you have ready your father's full name and date of birth, your mother's full name and date of birth, as well as any relevant information about your spouse if you're married, and your children as well? You will need your current home address, any previous addresses you've lived at over the last 5 years, a good phone number, and a good email address. You're going to want to have information regarding any previous United States visas that you may have had before, including the visa number, the visa type, and the date it was issued. You're going to need information about any previous US entries, anytime you previously visited the United States. If you don't have that information, I'm going to show you where you can find it. Go on the internet and go to this website here. You can find it by Googling I-94. The I-94 is a record the United States government keeps with regard to every time you've ever visited. When you get to this website, click this button, Get Most Recent I-94, Accept, and you'll come to this page where you will enter your first name, your last name, date of birth, country of your citizenship, and your passport number. Once you enter all that information, you will be brought to a new page that shows every visit to the United States you have previously done. You're going to want to save that website as a PDF or write down the information. In addition to your I-94 records, you're going to want information about your current job. What is your current job title, the name and the address and the phone number of your current employer, and a brief description of the work that you're doing. If you've had previous employment within the last 5 years, you're going to want the same information for those previous employers. Finally, you're going to want also, even though it's not on this list, your educational history. If you did any education above high school, any university education, you're going to need the name of the university, the address of your university, what year you attended, the year or the date that you received your degree, what your course of study was, any other relevant information about your university. You will also see some questions about your social media. If you use Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any of these social media sites, you're going to want to have ready what your name is on these websites. You're also going to need an address you intend to stay at in the United States. A lot of people get worried about this. Don't worry. You can use your E2 business address. You can use the address of the hotel where you will be staying for the first several nights or first several weeks. But you need some type of US address. Finally, you're going to need the information for a point of contact in the United States. You will use my information. I will give you that as we go forward. So before anything else, you want to make sure you have all these documents right next to you, right next to your computer as you're moving forward. Here we are on the website to complete the DS-160. The website address, as you see above, is ceace.state.gov. You can also just enter DS-160 into your search bar and you will be brought to the right website. When you get to this page, you are ready to begin. The first step you want to take is selecting the consulate where you will be doing your interview. If you click on this menu, you'll see all these countries around the world. For our example, we are going to select the United States Consulate in Toronto, Canada. but select whatever consulate is appropriate to you, where you hold a passport or you are a legal resident. Once we've selected the consulate, we will enter the code and proceed through the website. If you're doing this application for the first time, after you've selected the consulate and entered the code, you will click in red, Start an Application. You will agree to all the legal terms, and down below, you will answer a security question. The question they usually begin with is the given name of your mother's mother. The reality is, it doesn't matter much what you put here so long as you remember it. My first name is Grant. I'm going to enter Grant, even though that's not the given name of my mother's mother. It's something that's easy for me to remember. After you click Continue, you are now into the DS-160 itself. Before you do anything, take these important steps. Up above in the upper right-hand corner, you will see an application ID number. It almost always begins with AA00. Write down your application ID number. It is very important. This website is old, it's glitchy, it may log you out. You will need that application ID to get back in. You may stop and return to your form in the future. You will need your application ID. And finally, before submitting your form, you will share your form with your immigration attorney. I hope it's me. I will need that application ID number, so make sure you write it down. You will send to your lawyer your application ID number, the password question we've just answered one page earlier, the year of your birth, and your last name. If I have your last name, the year of your birth, your application ID number, and your password question, I can enter and review all of your answers. Page 1 of the DS-160 begins asking for personal information. Last name, I will write Dwyer. My given name is Paul Grant, and my full name is Paul Grant Dwyer. Have I ever used any other names? No, this is the only name I've ever had. Do I have a telecode that represents my name? No. It will ask me to select my sex, male, my marital status. I'm single, but I'm going to put married so that I can show you a little bit later how that works, as well as the date and place of my birth. My birthday is January 18, 1975. I was born in Rochester, New York, but because I'm filling this form out as if I was a Canadian, I'm going to say that the province was Ontario and the country was Canada. Every time you get to the bottom of a page, it is important to click Save so you don't lose your work. Save and continue. It'll bring you right back to the page you were on. Moving on to the next page, what is my region or origin or nationality? If I'm filling out this form as a Canadian, I'm going to click Canada. Do you hold any other nationality other than the one indicated above? For many of you, you will only have one passport or one nationality. Some of you may have more. I'm going to pretend that I have a second nationality and that I also have, let's say, India. Do you hold a passport for the other region? I will click yes. What is my Indian passport number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I a permanent resident anywhere other than Canada? No. Do I have a national ID number? Nope. Do I have a US Social Security number? You may wonder about this question because if you're applying for an E2 visa, you hope to get a US Social Security number soon. But if you don't already have one, you will click Does Not Apply. If you previously received a US Social Security number with a different visa, you can go ahead and enter it here. Or if you previously have a taxpayer ID number, you can enter it here. I will save my work, I will continue, and I will move on to travel. This is a very important page. If you make a mistake here, the whole form will fall apart. Most of the people watching this video will be E2 investors. So when you are asked to select a visa class, you will select E, treaty, trader, or investor. Underneath, what type of visa are you applying for? If you are the treaty investor yourself, if you are the E2 applicant yourself, you will select treaty investor. Keep in mind, if you are married or have minor children and you intend for them to come with you to the United States, they will have to fill out their own DS-160. Every family member fills out a DS-160. If I were filling this out for my wife, I would indicate she's the spouse of an E2. My child is the child of an E2. But if I'm the primary applicant, I'm selecting visa class E, E2. The next question asks if I have made specific travel plans. Most applicants at this stage haven't because they're waiting for the interview to take place before they actually plan their trip to the United States. It's all right to put no. It will ask you for your estimated date of arrival. Do not worry overly about this. I typically recommend that you pick a date a few months in the future. In this case, I will put March 1st, 2026. If my arrival is earlier or later, it will not be a problem. They then ask you, how long do you intend to stay in the United States? The maximum time period for an E2 investor visa is 5 years. It varies country by country, and you may not receive the whole 5 years, but I always recommend asking for the whole 5 years. Now it asks me for an address where I will stay in the United States. As I spoke about earlier in this video, it does not matter overly much about what you put here, so long as it is a valid address in the United States. You may use your E2 business address if you have it. I will put 123 Business Avenue in New York, New York, with the zip code 10009. They will ask you who is paying for your trip. I'll put myself. However, when you're filling this form out for your wife or your child, if you put another person is paying, it will ask you the name and the contact information for that person, as well as their relationship to you. So for this demonstration, I will say my wife is paying for the trip. Her name is Jennifer. Let's see, I'll give her a pretty first name, Jessica. Her phone number is 123-456-7890. Her email is jessica@gmail, and her relationship to me is spouse. However, typically the E2 applicant will indicate that he or she is paying themselves for the trip. Is the address of the party paying for my trip the same as my address? Yes, this is my wife. We live together. I'll save my work and continue. They will then ask me if I'm traveling with any other people. Are there other persons traveling with you? If you intend to bring your family, you will click yes. Are you traveling as part of a group or organization? No, it's just the family. Who is traveling with you? Well, again, I will put my imaginary wife here, Jessica Dwyer. Our relationship is spouse, and I will pretend we have one child together, and his name will be Paco. Paco Dwyer is my child. These are the only two people traveling with me. If I have 5 children, I must add each and every one of them. Save my work and continue. The next page is previous US travel. This is when you're going to need your I-94 ready because you're going to need to know exact dates. Have I ever been in the United States before? Yes. They want to know about my previous 5 visits. Well, I will say I came on December 2nd, 2025, and I stayed 4 days. Add another. I came on October the 8th, 2025, and I stayed 6 days. Add another. I came on February 9th, 2025, and I stayed 6 weeks. Whatever the actual numbers are for you, you want to enter them in here and copy them just as they are in your I-94. Have I ever held a US driver's license? If I click yes, it will ask me for the driver's license number and the state. If I've never had a license, I will click no. Have I ever been issued a US visa? If you have, you will click yes. They will ask you the date that the visa was issued. I'll say February 1st, 2019. The visa number, I've lost it. I will click I do not know. Are you applying for the same type of visa? Well, that visa maybe was a tourist visa, a B visa. I'm now applying for an E2, so I will click no. Are you applying in the same country? Yes, I got that one in Canada. I'm applying for this one in Canada, so I will click yes. Have you been 10 printed? Have they taken your fingerprints as part of a visa process? No. Have I ever lost a visa? No. Has it ever been canceled or revoked? No. Have I ever been refused a visa or refused admission? I will click no. However, if the answer is yes, they will give you a little box to explain what happened. Has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition? Meaning, have I ever applied for a green card, a permanent residence in the United States? In this case, I will click no, but if you click yes, they will give you a box to explain what happened. I save and continue, and we're moving on to my home address. This is where I live in Canada. I will say I live at 321 Snow Street in the city of Toronto, in the province of Ontario. My postal code will be one of these Canadian postal codes, and I will indicate that I live in Canada. You will fill this out with your own information. Is this mailing address the same as my home address? In other words, do I live in the same place I receive mail? Yes. My primary phone number is 1-2-3-4-5-6-7-8-9-0. I do not have a secondary phone or a work phone. Have I used any other phone numbers in the last 5 years? No. My email address is grant@visasusa.org. Have I used any other emails? No. Here they will ask me about my social media. You may have heard in the news that the Trump administration is taking a closer look at the social media used by people who are applying for visas. If you have a social media like Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, this is your opportunity to share what your identifier, what your name is on that social media. I don't have any. I'm going to go down and put none. Do I wish to provide any other information about my presence on the internet? No. Save my work and continue. Now they're going to ask me about my passport. You likely have a regular passport unless you're a diplomat. And I will say my passport number is 1234567. Canadian passports don't have a book number, but your country might. They already know I'm coming from Canada. They want to know where this was issued. I will say Toronto. You can find that information right on your passport. And they're going to want to know the issuance date. We will say mine was issued March 1st, 2017. The expiration date, usually it's about 10 years down the road. Check your passport. And they'll ask if I've ever lost or had a passport stolen, and I will put no. Save and continue. U.S. contact. You may have a person in the United States already to use as your contact, but if not, you're welcome to use me if I am the lawyer representing you. All my information will populate here. Paul Dwyer, Grant Dwyer Law, and my relationship to you is other because I'm your attorney. You may use my address here. I will let you copy this from the screen. 3040 Southwest 2nd Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33129. You can pause the video here to copy this information if I am representing you. We will save and continue. The next questions have to do with my father and mother. I will put in my father's name, And I will make up a birth date for my father here, January 1st, 1945. But you'll need to have the actual real data for your parents. Is my father in the US? I will say no, he's in Canada. My mother's name, I will enter, give her a birth date, will make her born on the same day as my father. And is she in the United States? No. If you do not know your parents' names or birth dates, it is okay to click Do Not Know for any of these questions. Finally, they'll ask me if I have any immediate relatives, not including parents, in the US. This means brothers and sisters. If I click yes, they will give me some space to say who, but in this case, I will click no. And then they ask a bigger question. Do I have any other relatives in the United States? Cousins, aunts, or uncles? Again, I will click no. I will save and continue. The next series of questions will be about my wife. What did I name her? I think her name is Jessica. And she was born, let's say, January 1st, 1980. Where is she from? I will say she is also from Canada. Where was she born? She was born in Toronto, Canada. And her address is the same as my home address. I will save and continue. The next page will ask about my current work, what I'm doing right now. So let's say I'm a lawyer. Let's see, there's not a, yeah, there's a section here for legal profession. I will enter the name of my employer and I will enter my employer's name. I'll make one up now. My employer's address, I'm sorry. I don't want to put them in Canada now that I think about it because, I mean, in the United States, because I'm supposed to be coming from Canada. So I will make up a Canadian address and a Canadian phone number. When did I begin at this job? Let's say I began January 1st, 2020. They asked me to estimate my monthly income in local currency. So I will say I make 5,000 Canadian dollars per month. Now, in about one sentence, they ask you to describe your duties in your current job. And I will write, I work to help visa applicants fill out Form DS-160. Save and continue. Have you had any previous employment within the last 5 years? I will put no, but if you have, you will fill out the same information about your previous employer. Have you attended any educational institutions at a secondary level or above? I will click yes, and I will write that I attended the University of Toronto, which is located at 456 Icy Street in the city of Toronto, in the province of Ontario, with a Canadian postal code here. I don't know, I'll make one up. And my course of study was legal studies. I attended from August 1st, 1998 to August, or to, let's say, to May 1st, 2002. I will save and continue. Do I belong to a clan or a tribe? No. How many languages do you speak? Well, I speak English. I will add another. Let's say I speak Punjabi. Have I traveled to any other countries within the last 5 years? I will click yes, and I will say I've been to Albania. I will add another. I have been to Bermuda. I will add another. I have been to Bolivia. If you have more in the last 5 years, keep adding them until you go back 5 years in time. Now come a whole bunch of questions that have to do with security. Have I belonged to or contributed to any charitable or social organization? No. Do I have any special skills in firearms? Unless you have been a police officer or in the military, it's probably no. Have you ever served in the military? For me, the answer is no. Have I ever been in a paramilitary unit? Also no. I will save and continue. There are a bunch of security questions, and it is important that you read each one, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to simply answer no to all of them. If you, while reading these questions, feel that the more honest answer is yes to any of them, then reach out to your immigration lawyer. Let me know what's going on, what the circumstances are, and how we can best present your circumstances to the United States government. All right, now we are in the meat of the application, the questions that are only asked of e-visa applicants. They now want to know the name of my business, my E2 business. So I will call it Dwyer Inc. And I will let them know that it is, if it's an LLC, I'll change the name to Dwyer LLC. And LLCs are privately owned. So I will click privately owned. When was my business incorporated? Check your documents. I will pretend mine was incorporated March 1st, 2025, in the city of Miami, in the state of Florida. They now want to know the address of my headquarters of the business. All right. So again, my business is called Dwyer LLC, and I will say it is 123 Fake Street in Miami, Florida, 33129. And that is in the United States. Telephone number, put your business telephone number there. Fax number, I don't have a fax anymore. You can't leave it blank, so I will put all zeros in that box. What is the nature of my business? I will put legal assistance, and I will describe my business. This business will offer legal services to anyone who struggles to fill out the form DS-160. I will save my work and continue. Is there a foreign parent business? If you are an E2 applicant, the answer here is no. There is no foreign business that owns your business. Are there any foreign entities associated? No, your business stands alone. Is there any foreign individual owner? Yes, you. So if I'm a Canadian and I own a US business, I am a foreign business owner, and I will put that I am an E2 applicant. They don't give me all of the space to write out the word applicant, so I will put E2 app. What country do I live or reside in? Canada. Where do I come from? I will say I come from India, and I own 100% of the business. If there is another person, let's say my wife or my brother owns 30% of the business, I will add another person. Let me change this percentage to 70. And I will put my brother's information, call him Tom. He has no immigration status. He lives in Canada. He doesn't want to come to the United States, so I will put none. Where does he reside? I'll say he resides in Canada. His passport, his region of origin is Canada, and I will put that he has 30% of the business. These two numbers always need to add up to 100%. I will save and continue my work. Now there's questions about my investment. If this is a brand new business that I've just opened up myself, I will click Creation of a New Business. Total startup costs. Here you want to refer directly to your business plan. This number, your total investment, should match exactly what your business plan says. I will imagine that I have invested $101,000. One thing you will find working on this website is these little boxes can be very difficult to complete. If you put your cursor in the wrong area of the box, it becomes frustrating. You have to get used to it and play around with it. Now, for a more detailed explanation of my investment. All of my investment happened in the year 2025, and they're going to break down the different parts of my investment. Again, refer to your business plan. You want these numbers to match your business plan exactly. There are two rows here, one on the left and one on the right. The left column is initial investment. The right column reads total investment. You should treat these two columns exactly equal. Sometimes complicated investors will indicate that they invested over time, but the better path is to summarize everything. So for this question, how much cash was in my initial investment? They're asking me how much cash is left over after I've spent everything that I've spent so far. I will indicate that I have $10,000 left in the business bank account. And again, I will make the left column match the right column. How much did I spend in inventory? Well, if my business, let's say, is a law firm, I don't have any inventory, so I will add 0. How much did I spend in equipment? I will say I spent 20,000. Again, it's important to look at your business plan and copy these numbers exactly from the business plan. For my premises, let's say I spent 10,000. And so finally, if I add all these up and they're going to have to equal 101,000, I'm at 40,000. So for my other, the right number is going to be 61,000. After you've entered all these figures, you can calculate the total, 101. Make sure it matches the number you put on top of the site. Where did this investment come from? It came from my personal funds. It came from a treaty country. Canada is a treaty country. How much total? It was 101,000. How did I document this? Through wire statements, bank statements. I will save my work and continue. Oh, whenever you make an error, they won't let you continue. I forgot to click up here that I'm talking about the calendar year of 2025. Save and continue. This is a little bit complicated as well, and you also want to refer to your business plan as you fill out this page about personnel. There are 3 boxes. First box, second box, third box, and then a total where they will add everything together. The first box only deals with people who have or will have an e-visa. You will have an e-visa and you will be a manager or executive at your business. So, just taking into account you, this year your business will have one manager who is an e-visa holder. Probably the same for next year. Will you have any specialized employees or regular employees who are e-visa holders? Probably not. So we will put zeros in each of those boxes. Remember, this whole blue box on top only deals with people who will hold an E, H, or L visa, not employees who come from the United States. The second box deals with employees you have from the United States. You may have none right now. They're asking you to project out this year and next year. Look at your business plan. This data is already in your business plan. I may hire some people, but I'm not going to hire anyone who's going to be an executive this year or next year. I will hire one person whose job is very special. It requires training, maybe a degree. So I will call them specialized. I will have 1 this year and 3 next year. All the other employees who have regular jobs that aren't specialized, don't require any training, they go in this bottom box. I will have 4 this year, let's say, and 5 next year. Copy these numbers from your business plan. The third and final blue box asks me if I'm going to hire any employees who are not from the United States and who do not have one of these visas. In other words, other foreigners. I'm going to put no. All of my hires will be US citizens. When I calculate the totals, they will give me the numbers, and that should match your business plan. Save. I must have made some error. Once again, I forgot to click calendar on top. So I save and I continue. One of the nice things about saving and continuing for every page is if you make an error, they will stop you and let you know. They want to ask me now about who with an e-visa will be an executive or a manager. Well, it's me, the main applicant. I will have an e-visa and I will be in an executive position. I will call myself the CEO of my business. My business doesn't have divisions, so I would put not applicable. And they want to know my country of origin. Well, in this example, I come from Canada. And what's my status? I'm not a US citizen. I'm not a visa holder yet. I'm not a permanent resident, so I will click Other. And in the box below, I will indicate that I'm an E2 investor applicant. I'm hoping to get that E2 visa. I will save my work and continue. Now, some questions about the work, the job I have right now. All right, that's why it says present position. I am applying as a principal, owner, investor, or trader. I hope to be an E2 investor. My present position, I will put I'm a lawyer in Canada who helps investors fill out forms. My employer's name is Grant Dwyer Law. I have 6 years with this business. And again, I will give it a made up address somewhere in snowy Canada. Some questions about my education. Again, I say I went to the University of Toronto. I got a bachelor's degree in legal studies. I forgot what year. I think I said 2002. Do I have any other relevant education to report? If you have any, a master's degree or certificate or other diploma, go ahead and click yes. For this example, I will click no. I will save and continue. This page asks me about my job in the United States if I get the E2 visa. I will be a CEO, and my duties will include managing the entire company, setting corporate strategy, and finding customers. Usually a sentence or two is enough for this box. Will I have any immediate subordinates, people who report to me, who work for me? I will write, yes, I do. I have not hired them yet, so their names are to be determined. What will be my salary in the United States? Look again at your business plan. It will say what your projected salary is. I will say it's $70,000 a year with no benefits. I will calculate that total. And I will answer the question whether or not I'm replacing a worker already in the United States. No. Am I increasing staff in a US company? No. Am I continuing existing employment in the United States? No. Save my work and continue. They want to know now who is a responsible person within my E2 business they can direct any questions to. Well, the best person to talk to would be me. So again, I will put my information. And who else can they contact about this? I would prefer they contact me. I know more about my E2 business than anyone does. Let's make up some addresses here. What you will be putting here is your E2 business address in the United States. I don't know why the United States is always at the bottom of the menu on a US website, but don't get me started. I do not have a fax. I'll say I do not have an email. I will save my work and continue. Where do I intend to work in the United States? I intend to work at Dwyer LLC. Do I have an e-visa company registration number? No, not yet. I hope to. If my interview goes well, they will give me an e-visa company registration, but I don't have that yet. And again, I will put a made up address here in the United States for where my business will be located. You should put your business address. Save my work and continue. We are now near the end of the DS-160. You should have ready on your computer a digital copy of a passport photo. You will upload your photograph to this website by clicking the blue box, Upload. I don't have a passport photo ready, but this is where you'll do it. Once you've uploaded this photograph, you are done. The only thing left to do at that point is to submit the DS-160 to the United States government and to the consulate you selected at the very beginning of this process. I selected Toronto. Do not submit until your lawyer has reviewed your form. So here's what you do. You upload your photograph, you save your work, and you simply close the website. Send to your lawyer your DS-160 confirmation number that begins AA00, your last name, the year of your birth, and your security question. What is your mother's given name? Once I receive those things, I will go through your form, make sure it's correct, and we will upload it. If for whatever reason you're doing this on your own or you don't want me to see it, you can go ahead and upload it, but this is very important. After you upload it, you will be given a chance to save your confirmation page. You must save the confirmation page. Save it as a PDF. That document must be included in the packet of information we send to the consulate. That's why I like to do it myself. I hope this video has been helpful. You can go back, rewind, watch it in slow-mo, fast forward to the parts that you want to see, and please reach out to us with any questions. Have a great day.